50 million years ago, the Arctic was a much warmer and wetter place, kind of like a modern-day swamp.
In a stunning twist, the near future teeters on the brink of catastrophic tsunamis and a refugee crisis due to dwindling resources. Shockingly, the threat doesn't stem from a colossal asteroid or a supervolcano, but from the unsuspected presence of microscopic snow algae. Over the past decade, scientists have vigilantly monitored the explosive proliferation of these tiny green organisms across Antarctica. This dramatic shift from Antarctica's pristine white to vibrant green raises profound questions about our planet's history and the ominous ramifications of this transformation. This is Reveal the Mystery. If you are curious to learn mysteries of the world, space and beyond, consider subscribing. Many of us have a common image of Antarctica as a frozen wasteland, an environment so bitterly cold that human survival without shelter would be implausible. Nonetheless, the influence of global warming is swiftly reshaping entire continents. Those with a grasp of Earth's past are aware that during the age of dinosaurs, Antarctica was a sprawling, lush forest. Today, due to global warming, this icy land is transitioning back into a green landscape, offering a welcoming habitat for moss and algae. This transformation is already underway in select regions, where the ice displays a variety of colors, including green, red, orange, or brown, courtesy of the thriving, multicolored mosses. While this display is captivating, it carries repercussions, as green vegetation reflects less sunlight compared to a white surface, expediting ice melt. So, what does this signify for us? In recent scientific inquiries, researchers have retrieved limpet shells and penguin bones from the coastal regions and utilized their ages to pinpoint when the ice withdrew from the coastlines. The results have disclosed that the two significant glaciers in Antarctica, namely Thwaites and Pine Island, are currently melting at an unprecedented rate in the past 5,500 years. Consequently, sea levels are mounting steadily each year, with a forecasted rise of 3.4 meters within a century. Moreover, in 2020, NASA scientists recognized a troubling pattern of swiftly diminishing glaciers in other parts of Antarctica over the last 25 years, leading to twice the ice loss than previously estimated, particularly from the floating ice shelves that act as barriers, preventing melting ice from flowing into the ocean. Since 1997, roughly 12 trillion tons of ice have dissipated. All indications point to Antarctica reverting to a period when it was devoid of ice, resembling the Cretaceous period, which spanned 145 to 66 million years ago. During that era, the oceans heated up to 30 degrees, and global temperatures were substantially higher, likely attributed to numerous volcanic eruptions. Volcanic eruptions were occurring, ejecting lethal molten lava and triggering destructive fires that at times consumed the entire area, resulting in a barren and scorched terrain. Nonetheless, even in the face of these catastrophic occurrences, Antarctica continued to harbor life, playing host to the forebears of mammals, reptiles, the earliest avian species, and dinosaurs. In 1986, paleontologists made a significant discovery on James Ross Island, unearthing the remains of an ankylosaurus. These colossal creatures, roughly the size of an elephant, were safeguarded by thick, sturdy armor consisting of large bony plates and cones. Their tails featured a formidable club-like structure that could easily shatter an adversary's bones on impact. Subsequently, on Vega Island, scientists came across the remains of hadrosaurs, which reached lengths of 7.6 meters and weighed about 8 tons. These creatures possessed broad, beak-like snouts and hoof-like claws on their forelimbs. They sported a hollow helmet on their heads, with one theory suggesting it contained flammable gas, similar to a dragon, which they could expel in self-defense. However, this hypothesis remains unverified. Both creatures were herbivorous and used their unique adaptations primarily for protection. Simultaneously, Antarctica was home to its share of ruthless predators, including the mosasaurs residing on Ross Island. Recent discoveries by paleontologists unveiled their razor-sharp teeth and formidable jaws, which allowed these creatures to rend their prey into pieces. Their preferred victims were marine reptiles, particularly turtles and plesiosaurs, and they even resorted to cannibalism. As Earth's climate gradually cooled, Antarctica remained cloaked in ice for countless millennia. However, around 56 million years ago, during the Eocene epoch, a resurgence of milder conditions occurred on the continent. The glaciers retreated, revealing flourishing forests teeming with palm-like araucaria trees, conifers, and southern beeches. These woodlands provided a habitat for the ancient precursors of today's marsupials, armadillos, and anteaters. Scientists found some interesting things in Antarctica. First, they discovered the fossils of animals that looked like a mix between a horse and a camel on Seymour Island. Later, they found the bones of big birds with sharp spikes in their jaws, which helped them catch squid and fish. A long time ago, when the Earth was much warmer, these animals lived in Antarctica. But as the planet cooled down, the whole continent got covered in ice, and it's now about 1.6 kilometers thick. It might seem impossible for any living thing to survive under all that ice, but in recent years, scientists found something exciting. Underneath the ice, they discovered many canyons, rivers, and lakes. There are about 400 lakes under the ice, and one of them is huge, about the size of a modern city. They used an airplane with special tools to find it, and they called it Snow Eagle. It's 200 meters deep, 48 kilometers long, and over 15 kilometers wide, which is as big as Montana's famous Flathead Lake. Now, researchers are studying the creatures that live in these hidden lakes. They think these animals have been living under the ice for millions of years. For example, a scientist from Ukraine found a leash that's 35 centimeters long when it's not eating, but it can get 3 times bigger after it drinks the blood of fish. German researchers also made a discovery by sending a robot submarine deep into the Ross Glacier. They saw small creatures like germs, tiny shellfish, and strange-looking fish. These fish have very large eyes, probably because it's dark down there. Some of them are orange, some are black, and the biggest ones have see-through skin, so you can see their insides. But if the water in their icy home gets just a little warmer, these creatures might not make it, and that could be a big problem for our planet. If all the ice in Antarctica were to melt, sea levels would go up by about 70 meters, which would flood many coastal cities. Scientists have made detailed maps showing which areas would be affected. For example, the Atlantic coast, including Florida and the Gulf Coast, would disappear. In California, the hills of San Francisco would turn into islands, and the Central Valley would become a big bay. This would force millions of people to leave their homes and find new places to live. But a big question is whether the new world will have enough food and water for everyone. Antarctica has a lot of ice, and it holds about 70% of the world's fresh water. If this ice melts and mixes with the salty seawater, the water won't be drinkable. This could lead to big changes in the way the ocean currents move, which affects the weather and how the Earth's plates move beneath the ground. This could cause severe storms, large tsunamis, and more volcanic eruptions to become common. Some places that are fertile and good for growing crops will turn into deserts, while other areas will be flooded often. This will make it hard to grow enough food or raise animals for food. People might not have enough to eat, and there could be fights over food. There could also be outbreaks of diseases like smallpox, the bubonic plague, and anthrax that can spread around the world. Some of these diseases can come back to life when the ice melts. In 2016, there was an anthrax outbreak in Siberia that was linked to thawing permafrost. Antarctica might become more habitable if the ice melts. It's a vast continent with valuable minerals like oil, gas, and precious metals, making it an attractive place for mining. However, it will remain extremely cold, with half the year in darkness. It could transform into chilly, swampy regions with mosses and lichens, making farming and animal husbandry challenging. Therefore, it's crucial to hope for the preservation of Antarctica's icy state while scientists explore solutions to halt ice melting. Scientists are considering methods to prevent ice melt, such as reducing greenhouse gases or deploying a space-based shield over Antarctica. This shield would reflect or absorb some sunlight, maintaining the cold conditions. The calculations suggest that a 1.5% reduction in sunlight can counteract global warming. Should the shield not work correctly or cause issues, it can be removed. Nevertheless, it's essential to recognize that this remains a conceptual project in the development phase.